What's up, guys? Welcome back to Back Road Driver.
Today we got a good one for you guys. We're going to talk about my 21 F150 with the V8 and the Whipple, but we're getting custom tuning by Livernois Motorsports.
So Livernois Motorsports is the first and only tuner for the 21 and up F150. Some other companies are finally coming online, but it's been a long time, and Livernois has had a big head start. So yes, this truck with a Whipple did come with a Whipple tune, but Sam's going to tell you in this video, and we're going to drive in this video, he'll tell you the differences. If you have a Whipple, it's a lot different with a Livernois custom tune. If you don't have a Whipple, you're going to pick up a lot of benefits with this tune, and he's going to go through every bit of that in this video. So if this is your first time watching our channel, you probably don't know, but we have a lot of different builds going on, and stuff stays broke a lot. We're always upgrading and fixing and modifying things. Sam's actually been working on this tune with Livernois in the background while we've been doing our builds. So he's actually put a lot of miles on the vehicle with this tune and went through several versions. So he's going to work you from, you know, the first tune he got with 93. Now he's on an E40 mix. So he's like actually mixing.
44, but yeah.
Okay, 44. That's how much I know about it. He's mixing E85
and it's not that
regular
exact
gas.
Anyway. I mean, you're mixing gas and ethanol, but
There you
anyway,
go.
we'll get into that.
But the tune does read that, and so you're able to take advantage, if you have that fuel in your area, of an even hotter tune for performance. Ultimately, he's going towards a full E85 tune, which will give him the most power. Now, I'll tell you this, and this is interesting to me. I get this question a lot in the comments because I run a 1,000 horsepower Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk and a 1,000 horsepower F150. It's a 2018. They both run solely on E85. And a lot of times in the comments, people will say, why would you put that junk in your car? Well, the E85, the 85 number, and 93 octane for 93 octane fuel, that's not a similar equation. It's not 85 octane.
It's 85% ethanol,
which has a much higher octane rating than regular gas. So it ends up being 100, 101, 102 octane, depending on how quality the E85 is that you're able to put in your vehicle. But I don't know as much about this process, which is kind of good because I'm going to ask Sam the questions that kind of a newbie to this style of tuning doesn't know, and he'll be able to walk us through how this feels. I have ridden with him a lot before he had the Whipple, while he's had the Whipple, and now that he's got this. And I'll say this, he can make this truck scary now. The Whipple tune, it's a heavy truck. It's 5,500 pounds, so I wouldn't have necessarily called this thing scary. But now,
that's relative.
That's relative. When he turns all the nannies off, he can make it scary. But this thing is probably, if you put it on the dyno right now, 700.
Mid sixes up to 700. You know, I'm guessing. Seat of the pants between the Whipple tune and this, it's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot more power, and that's at the wheels. You know, Whipple called this a 775 horsepower truck. That's at the flywheel.
Yep.
This one,
when you dyno, you're measuring at the tires. When you're giving something a number for it to sound cool, like Hennessy Performance does, or like Ford does, or Chevy, or any of those folks, they're talking about a flywheel number. So this was 775 at the flywheel with just the Whipple on it, and now it could be in the, you know, it's closer to the 800 than it is to the 775, and it may be way above that.
The simplest way for us to show you the differences that this tune makes is to show you some draggy times. Now remember that my truck is a 4-wheel drive. It's lifted up with a leveling kit. You know, it's got 33-inch tires. It's full weight. So, you know, we're not talking you short cab guys or any of that stuff. So these numbers are subjective, but they're going to show you the progression we made. So with base Whipple tune on this thing, the best time I ever laid down was a 12.15 in the quarter mile. And, you know, that was at 114 miles an hour and a 4.14 0 to 60 time. For example, when I got the 93 tuning, and keep in mind, I wanted to jump on over to the E44 stuff, so we didn't spend a lot of time dialing in the 93, but the transmission tuning and the added power that we had, we got that down to an 11.97, and you can see that's a similar DA and a 3.92 0 to 60. So it's pretty good gains considering you're not doing a whole lot with 93. I mean, Whipple's got a tune that's it's on a blower, but you're going to get that extra benefit and squeeze some more of that tune out of it with the Livernois tune. Now, when we look at the E44 tune that I'm running, Guys, I made an 11.6 pass with a 3.6 30 to 60. Now it was colder, and so that 3.63 could have been a little bit better with traction and everything. At 119.83 miles an hour. I mean, this thing is scooting right now. I'm looking forward to moving on to throwing some injectors on this thing and that fuel system, and we'll see where those times take us. But I mean, this is already really impressive numbers. I think we're going to be down in the high 10s with this truck at least. So we'll see where this goes. This video is going to stop with E44 tuning. It's really impressive, guys. That next level will be in a future video.
Let's look at some dyno charts. If you're watching this video, you probably want to know, what will this tune do for my particular truck? You may have a 3.5 EcoBoost, a 2.7, or a 5.0 V8, and we're going to show you all three dyno graphs right now. So guys, we almost put this video out, and Livernois just dropped a new tune for the 3.5 EcoBoost. Videos on YouTube on their channel. Guys, they actually have an increase of 125 wheel horsepower and 125 foot-pounds of torque on the 3.5 EcoBoost tune. That beats everything out there right now. You're starting to see some other companies get the capabilities to tune these trucks, but it appears that Livernois is out in front of everybody right now because they've already been doing this for a very long time, and they know this platform a little bit better at this point. Moving on to the 2.7 EcoBoost, guys, they're able to add 50 horsepower and 50 foot-pounds of torque. And this is probably updated when you're watching this video because, guys, this stuff is all happening fast. So it may even be increases above that at this point. And here on the 5.0 Coyote, and this is your naturally aspirated, no boost, they're adding 38 horsepower and 45 foot-pounds of torque. Guys, that's impressive with just a tune, and you're also obviously picking up those impressive transmission shifts that make a big difference in how your truck feels when it drives. The throttle response is also there too.
So I've been working with Livernois on the tune for several weeks now, back and forth, constantly doing revisions. Of course, I went through the 93 tune process, and now we've moved up to where I've added a booster pump, and that's something you're going to have to do if you want to run a mixed ethanol tune. E44 is basically just go and pump 10 gallons of E85 and 10 gallons of 93. That's almost always going to be a E44 if you have pretty good ethanol. So that's an easy way to do this. When I was on 93, I gained about 1/10.5 on my quarter-mile times. The drivability with this transmission tune from Livernois is night and day from the Whipple tune, guys. The Whipple's tune upgrades your transmission tuning just a little bit over stock. It's not as slushy and everything, but with the Livernois tune, it is night and day, guys. I mean, you actually start to get that rear end to hook up a little better when it shifts gears at high speed and everything. It's allowing more torque to run through the whole system. You're getting longer shifts, better shift points, and when you're not getting on it, it's just better daily drivability with this tune. It seems like when you do get into the pedal, it does it quicker than it did before with the Whipple tune. It doesn't have that slow pause before it kicks in and everything. So highly recommend this for the transmission tuning itself. You're doing this for the added power. We all know that. So with the 93 tune, like I said, I gained about 1/10.5 on my draggy times in the quarter mile. You could just feel the power, and it's way more usable. But 93 and this blower on this truck, you start to run into a situation where you're running out of fuel to fuel this thing on 93 pretty quick. So to get more power, what you do is add E85. This E85 tune that we're on, E44 mix, guys, it's unbelievable. I think we found the sweet spot with this truck. I really like with power level right now. You can get into it, and it can get a little bit squirrely, but for the most part, it just puts a smile on your face. The street manners and everything, it's not going to get all over the place on you and everything. It's right there on that edge of doing that, though. So when I switch and put some injectors in and a fuel system, that will be in another video coming out soon. This thing's going to have a whole lot more power, and you know, it starts to, we build all these cars all the time. You build it and build it and build it, and there's always that spot where you're like, man, I wish I hadn't have done any more than that. You just go a little bit too far sometimes, and then drivability in the rain and things like that start to get a little bit more sketch, and you know, you can't just floor it anymore. You got to roll into it or you're going to lose all your traction and everything. So we'll see how that goes, but as of right now, I mean, I can't complain at all. This thing feels amazing. We need to let Brad drive this thing and tell you what he feels about it.
Sam's going to show you how to actually flash the tune on this when we get pulled over, just so you'll kind of see that process and what that requires.
So this is the device that Livernois will send you. It's their My Calibrator. It's got a touch screen on it, and you're going to be able to program your vehicle from right here from this device. You can also run diagnostics, clear trouble codes. You can reset your gearing for bigger tires, and Ford's not doing that for you anymore at the dealership. So if you put those different size wheels and tires on and your speedometer's off, a custom tuning solution like this is one of the only ways to fix that now. For the most part, this process of tuning a 21 and up F-150, it's the same as it always has been. You plug this device in to your truck and program it, but since these are locked down, you can't just plug into your OBD2 port anymore. The programming won't allow that. So what you have to do is pop the hood, and let me show you that process. You have to connect directly here into the computer underneath the hood. So the process is really simple, and once you've done it a time or two, it's second nature after that. The good thing is,
screw up. You can't plug them in the wrong place.
Correct. And once you get your tune finished, you don't have to fool with this anymore. So all the other functions of this device, they work from inside just like normal. It's just the actual flashing of the computer that you have to come out here and plug in. So you're just going to plug in their unit right here, and now it would get power as soon as I plug in the negative right here. And you're basically just bypassing some security that Ford's put in place. So this is where you would use the device and program from there. It's an extra little step than normal. It's worth it though. I mean, it's the only way anybody's been able to defeat the security on these Fords, so it's just part of the process these days. So there's a few other things on this device that it will do that I forgot to tell you. You can also, as well as changing your tire size, you can change for different gearing. So if you change from 355 gearing to 373 or down to 331 or whatever, you can change that with this programmer. And there's also some cool service functions. A lot of these you're going to need in the tuning process to clear some different modules and everything. So that's all built in.
So what's my setup here? It's your truck.
Sport mode, two-wheel drive, traction control or advanced track off.
That's where you hold it down all the way.
Yeah, and if you've got a Whippled truck with a tune on it and everything, and you're not turning that off every time you get in it, you don't know what you're missing, because that's where all the power is. I mean, it's neutering your truck if you don't have that traction control off. But you got to be smart. I mean, if it's raining,
leave the traction control
Leave
on.
the traction control on.
Sam acts like I don't know how to drive. Whoa!
Yeah.
Yeah! Holy snap! Okay. All right. So we used to, like, most of the time we launch our F-150s in four-wheel high.
For good traction reasons. But
Right, but it's a lot of fun to take off in two because we just got the back end out. It's fun to take off in two-wheel. The weight transfers back. It does get just a little squirrely, but yeah, if you're trying to be safe and you're trying to like hit a good time, and the times that he makes and that he shows you on draggy are in 4 high and launching with a little brake torque. That's how you're going to get your best time and your best 60 foot. I'll have to say right now, like, it's hard for me to say this because we always take things way too far. He could stop right now, and I would say he's got a truck that would smoke most Mustangs, and I'm not talking about just stock Mustangs. I'm talking about Mustangs in general that have a lot of stuff done to them, and that's puts you in a category with a lot of high-end sports cars, your Hellcats. It's already there. But yes, he's going to put the injectors and the big fuel system from JD Performance and everything else on it, but I mean, it makes all the noises, guys. The transmission is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Here's my best take. If you don't feel the transmission and it doesn't like interrupt what you're doing because it's always where it's supposed to be, it's perfect. Stock, it's absolutely not that way. It's a joke. It's
mushy.
It's clipping, it's
Skips
stepping
around.
on its feet. It's just never knows where to be. These guys have put this thing on the dyno to tune, and then they went out and they've drove it on the road, and they've got these tunes to hit, or these shifts to hit just right on the transmission, and it shows in this tune. This tune's freaking awesome. All right, little 30 roll. That pins you back really dang good.
Be looking for part 2 of this video where we go all out with injectors and a fuel system and more Livernois tuning. We'll catch you in the next one.